Moving on. So as healthcare professionals, you are going to hear these vocab words a lot, and you're going to want to use them. So when you want to find out how someone is feeling today, the question that you're going to use is ¿Cómo se siente hoy? How do you feel today? And then to answer that, someone would say, Me siento muy bien, bien, mejor, mucho mejor, regular, más o menos, mal, muy mal. So those are some options of things that people might say to answer that question. Just one other note in today's lesson. In any language, you're going to have cognates and you're going to have false cognates. So as you're learning new vocab, you might see that a word in the new language, like Spanish, may look very similar to the word that we have in English. Now you have to be very, very careful because although most of the time it's true, since both Spanish and English have similar backgrounds and we can trace the words back to Latin and Greek, their origins, a lot of times there are false cognates, which means a word looks similar to a word in another language, but actually has a very different meaning. So we need to take note to that and make sure that we are learning each word. Even if we make a good guess, we need to confirm what each word means. So here's an example of some false cognates in Spanish. In Spanish, we say falsos amigos, false friends. So one that's going to come up often is the word embarazada. That, to me, if I didn't know Spanish, would look a lot like the word embarrassed in English, but it does not mean that. So embarazada means pregnant. So if someone says, está embarazada, they're not asking if you're embarrassed. Embarazo means pregnancy. Éxito is not an exit, it actually means success. Actualmente means currently or right now. Sano is the word for healthy. Constipación is referring to nasal congestion. And intoxicación means poisoning in Spanish. So if you're working in a hospital and someone comes in and they say, está intoxicado, this is really important that you know that that means poisoned. That does not mean anything else. In that situation, it would mean poisoned. There is another word for intoxicación alcohólica, means alcohol poisoning. So if you hear the word alcohol or alcohólico, then you would be talking about alcohol poisoning. But if it's just the word intoxicación, it's usually a poisoning. And that's it for today. I appreciate your time. Gracias.